believe of Chesed Dalef. The mission is continuing over here with themes which we are up to of Ein Bein. You know, we mentioned Ein Bein Uderush, the shiny, so the mission is continuing with this theme over here. Ein Bein, I thought this, a Vart in Siyum, Tudik is busy with this, and also as well that there's nothing but coincidence. Every sig is brought down in Mesechta. There's a reason for that. Like it's a what there's a connection why the Tana, decided to put certain things in Mesechta Megilla. There's some sort of connection for it. Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know. There's two types of ways a person can ask hanuf for something. Either say that I don't have enough from that person whatsoever, or I can say I don't have enough from his food. Now the Gemara in the Durim explains it doesn't mean over here when I say I don't have enough from his food, because that won't make sense. But it means I don't want to have enough from anything which is food related. That's what it means. So, so now we're sort of minimizing the two things over here. One says I don't have any benefit anua from him. And one says I don't have any anua from food related to him. So what's the difference? And the juice is regular. Means can I step into his house or not? If I said I don't have anua from him, I cannot step into his house. And if it's only a machal, I could. So too as well, the kailim shine I'm not to borrow from him a bike, but I cannot borrow from him a blender. So the Indian kailim the guy by kailim. This is what the Gemara's in Durmadik is, that if you said I don't want to have enough from his food, you're allowed to borrow a blender from him. But this person, what he meant to say is meant to say that it doesn't have enough from any sort of food related, anything which is any which sort of benefit which can bring to machal. Jesus Rego, he said you can't stop this house. People don't care about that. That's not cool to know. However, even some people are sort of like, okay, I don't care about it. There's also again, this is a big thing. I'm not going to get into it. Ein Bein the Durim and the Duvis. There's no difference between a neder and a neduva gabe hegdish. Elu shel nedurim chai bechayusin. The neduva ein chai bechayusin. What's enough? If someone says harai zi oile, this should be an oile. This particular item is dies. Fine. I said this one. This is Ghana. But if he says harai lai oile, that I will bring an oile, so it doesn't make a difference if the oile dies. Your obligation has not been satisfied yet. So the Gemara who the inin bal ta'ach has ever the shuvin zechi bal ta'ach, which the Gemara has in Shishuna, I believe. Sig over there when a person's chay bal ta'ach, the first yom tiv, 2 yom tiv, 3 yom tiv, after a certain point of time, if you don't bring the carbon, you're chay bal ta'ach. So therefore, if you make a neder, if you make an aduva, there's going to be an expiration date when you have to bring that carbon. Tanuso, eizi neder. What's the definition of a neder? Ha'omer harai ulai oid. Va'eizi neduva. Like we said in the Mishnah, and Ma'abin the dove, what's the connection to the dove? The Dura may see if it dies, or stolen or got lost. Is responsible to sort of replace it. The dove is may see or nigni of the eine Chaybechus is not Chayv to Bechayis. We know what's the car for this. The Tuna Bush had the Pusik. Some of you do Russia, but near to loy the Chaper Ulaf. We should know as Shulaf said, if Nertzeloi the Chaper, he dashed over here that is only Nertze his neder, only when he's mischaper with his carbon. When a person has an obligation to bring a carbon, Nertze Kilushim, when it's like like we say Nertze by the side, by villain, when a person is sad, when he's accomplished. When is he Nertze? When he has a kapura. So me to say that as long as he doesn't have a kapura, he's not Nertze. When is it said? When it's Ulav. When the responsibility is upon him. When a person ulav has the responsibility upon him, lemush, they said harai ulay, when it's ulav, it's on him, not on the behemoth. Such a person, you can't say, what should you do behemoth died? You're not nitze until you bring a carbon. Until you bring a carbon. Ulav, if it's not on him, I ain't a chay b'chuyusan. My mash, where is the word ulav imply a chayis? Omar Rav Yitzchak Barav Dimi, the Omar ulay. Commanded to next after when it says it's upon me, it's like put on his shoulders. It's a yoke upon him. It's sitting upon him the chiyuv to bring carbon. Okay, now we're going to go on to see of Zav over here a little bit. And the animal dies, it's also like kapura. No, but he's not chiyuv to. He's not like kapura, but he's not missing anything. But it's also not mitzvah. Yeah. I mean to say this person. I know you're asking me. The mitzvah implies that the guy with chiyuv kapura, but still is not kapura, but. Lucian over here to touch over here is clear that he still has something to do, which he needs to do. And that person doesn't have anything to do anymore. So now we're going on to the Sig of Zav. A Zav, we're talking about a Zav, not a Zuvu. It's the big difference between a Zav and a Zuvu. So in fact, completely two different things. A Zuvu basically is a woman which sees dam, Shalei Bizman Nide. There's the 7 days and 11 days. A Zav is a disease, which is a completely different things. So just similar names. It's like, because both mean like to when it runs. That's what it means of it, but it's no connection. Although the Gemara will make tishtals from Zav to Zuv, the Gemara does make chalikim and certain dinim of here. Is aim ben so again. So Zav has 3 categories. If he sees one day, is considered to be a plain balkari. If he sees a Riyah, he sees again on the second day. Or even not second day, even on the same day twice, becomes a Zav Riyah. And if he sees 3 days or 3 times, is a Zav Shulish Riyah. One time you tell 1 day, 2 times you see you're tell 7 days, and 3 times you see you mechiva carbon. That's the definition how it builds. Of course, there's many other deals as well. But that's B'Kivi Seuda. We didn't have a Zav. It's ein ben Zav haroya shtar riyas. There's no chiluk between a Zav which sees 2 riyas, the roya shula she sees 3 riyas. Elu carbon only carbon. Means to say both are tell 7 days. If kimina be if mechiva carbon or not mechiva carbon. Munanim, what's mekar? I'm sorry, I skipped over here. Zumur who. The Indian Mishka and Moshe is Swedish Shiv. There's 2 dinim over here, Legaba Zav. One is the Gaba Tima Mishka and Moshe, that is Matamba Zav, has a special tumah. If he sits on something, or if he leans on something, lays on something, he's Matamba, even something which is, let's say, sitting on a wagon. So something which on the wheel will also become tumah, because Mishka and Moshe is sitting on a chair, sitting on a high bed, and even underneath it as well. That's Mishka and Moshe. That's the din Gaba Zav. Zav is Matamba Mishka and Moshe. Now, another din as well, they have to count 7 days. You have to count Shivan Akim. It has to have 7 days which have no Riyah. A Zav Ba'ashtarias and a Zav Shulashrias, these dinim are the same. I mean to say, Sai Legab the din of Shivan Akim, a Sai Legab the Tama Mishka Moshe are the same. The only difference between the 2 of them is the Gab a Chiv carbon or not, to bring a carbon or not. None of what's Makar. So first thing must be done right now with the first din, the Gab a Tim. The 2 of them are not Nabrasa. If Simoime, Muna Kus Shtaim, the Torah says twice the word Zav, Vikar Tumah already, then it says Tumah already. So the pusik ish kiye zav b'psurei zuvoy tumi. So Torah says tuma already, and when after twice means once he's zuv, twice zav is already a tuma. Shulish v'kara tuma. Torah says again it says over here 3 times. It says v'zoyis tia temusa b'zuvoy rab b'psurei zuvoy ayhechtem b'psurei b'zuvoy temusi. So again, there's another pasuk that says there 3 times the word zav, and then it says the word tuma as well. Okay, so 1 second. Are you tuma after 2 times or tuma after 3 times? So 2 is to make a timah. Shulish, it says again, is a new level of timah. Timah, you can only be that timah only if you bring a carbon. It's a greater level of timah, which is chayav a carbon. So if I'm maybe forget, shtayim l'tumah. That 2 times a year already becomes timah, but not a carbon. Shulish, and if you come 3 times, now it's carbon, but timah, only carbon, not a timah. I'm going to push the kasha. Amris, achla rosh shodesh rosh time. I don't understand. When he sees 2, he's ready tumah. Like, so tumah lahaychel puka. Where does the tumah go already? It doesn't disappear anywhere. So if Aima, maybe they say this way: Shtaim lekarbon le'tumah. 2 times is for carbon. Let's say from 2 already mechiva carbon, but you don't become tumah yet. Shulash after tumah. The 3rd time you become tumah as well. You have a chiv carbon, and now you have tumah as well. Both things. Let's talk about that. That's not how. Let the brayse. The chipur levakoy lefna Hashem mizuvay. It says mizuvay. But from his zav, but mizovay implies miktas zovin meviin carbon and miktas zovin I make a carbon. Means say mizovay. Not all zovin bring a carbon. Mizovay. Some zovin bring a carbon. Not all zovin bring a carbon. Only some. Okay, so what does it mean? Maybe if he sees 3 times bring a carbon. Shtaim, and we see 2 times bring a carbon. And not all zovin bring a carbon. So we have to differentiate. Okay, I have a different way to differentiate over here. If you see 2 times being only a carbon, like we said before, if you see 3 times, you become tumah, but you don't be a carbon. As said before, doesn't make sense. He's mechiv carbon after 2 times. So it's not the 3rd sriya will always be mechav whatever the 2nd person is mechav. And since we know there's a chilik between the 2nd and 3rd, we have no choice but to say 2nd time is tumah, and the 3rd time is chiv carbon as well. At the end of the sigya, we have 2 makayers. That is the difference between zav b'ashtarius and zav b'shulashrius. One is because it's it says twice in the Torah, Zuv Zav Tuma and Zav 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 Tuma. So therefore we have, twice over there. And when it says Mizivoy, not all Zuv are the same. The even there's some have a minikikishan. Mean to say what like a Havman is that maybe the first 2 times brings a carbon, and then the next 2 times brings a tuma and a carbon. You say what it said that the first time it doesn't come tuma, it brings a carbon. Kamashma Miziva that they not both bechiv a carbon. Only one is bechiv a carbon. The Miziva le'dana kamriyas. Miziva tells me there's a difference between 2 and 3. There's a difference between 2 types of zuv. I don't know how much I have to see to become tuma. 2, 5, 6 times. We don't know how many times. Kamashma Dev Simuri, it says, I'll tell you twice. One time it says ziva ziva tuma. One time it says 3 times ziva 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 tuma. So therefore we know that the types of zuv we have is a double one and a triple one. Okay, so that is all the Gabba din of Tama Mishra Moshe. The Hashid Amr is Miziva the Drusha. So now that we use Miziva to dash over here, the not all zuv and a chav carbon is some. The person says like Gabba Tahara, Yichiyiter Hazov Mizivoy, Visofel Hashiv and Akim. My Dorash by Dan, there also says Mizivoy. So Vivat Yidashin Mizivoy to Mimite, not all over the same. So what do you use the word like Gabba Tahara of Zayin Akim that not all over need this? What does Miziva need over there? So he may boil like a tiny the following brisa. Vichiyiter Hazov, check the person Vichiyiter Hazov, is mashma the Kshiv Seg Miziva. Daina, you can start counting Shem Akim as soon as he stops seeing Griya. Doesn't have to wait to the end of the day. As soon as you stop seeing, you can start counting with the Shiv and Akim. Less thing to have. So you need to have, the Monday afternoon, no more years anymore. Monday after he starts counting. Doesn't have to wait till Monday night. That's the Chita Azov. The second he's tired from his Zov, it stops. He can already start counting. That's one thing. Mizivay, v'loy mizivay imenigoy. The Haina, let's say a person is a Mitzayah and is also a Azov. Now, this person has a problem. He's not going to become two for a while still because Rashi must be horichas, so he's had the room over here. He first sees Riyas, and then he has still negatras. So the chiddush over here is let's see Rashi inside of it. Rashi must be right over here. But let me the first wide line over here. Sheim hoyizov mitzayir. A posting meziva, but then the strapper daim nega misifa. He's not yet. He's still mitzayir. He's trying to heal from his negatras. We don't tell him ain't sweet in the kiyas. Actually, we don't say you can't start counting 7 days in the kiyas until you're real lucky. He's in sign right now. I'm trying to count 1 day Torah, 2 days. No, you're not Torah. You're still a Matzorah. No, we don't say that he can't start counting as Shevi Yimayna Kiyim. Kolzman is a Matzorah. Starts counting right away as soon as it starts being Ozav. And it's considered it's counted for his days of Sweet Zav. When he's here to Mesiras, Yitbel Miyat Tefillah Shonish P'terek. The Mitzayir goes twice to the mikvah. We'll see in a moment the next year. He goes twice to the mikvah. So the first time he goes to mikvah, that's already good for his zav. The oil to this nigga is zivah. We need to make tamish commercial. What's enough minute? So that point onwards, not tamish commercial. Remember, that's a very unique thing to a zav. So he's not tamish commercial from that point onwards. So then that's the mizir sense over here. That he does not, then he can go to be metayim himself for Shivan Akim when he's Turim in the Ziva, even though he may have other timbers upon him. You can don't mix things together. I can go to mikvah for that. There's a similar discussion. I'm just thinking now. I remember there's a similar question today. But Besman 90, we are Tumah, right? So, but still, there's an Indian to have to this Bakari, even though you have still Tumah Smes, because there's still an Indian to sort of remind the level of Tumah. It's unrelated. You can still kind of say once you tell me there's nothing to about Tumah, you can't get rid of it anymore. No, there's still different things of Tumah. You can still get rid of that one, and different. But there's Sigi about which I don't remember where something is reminded, something which is come to me maybe one day. Mizivai, Shadvata pusing Miziva Visufa. So the word Miziva says next to the word Visufa that you should count. Limit Azav Bashtarius Shetun Swedish. And we established it before in the previous Sigi. That Azav Bashtaris becomes Tum. It's a Ziva Tuma. Now, how do we know that Azav Bashtaris needs to count 7 days? We didn't establish that yet. Now we're establishing that. We're starting to post Mizivoy, which implies, and we're using the exact opposite way we used before. Before we used Mizivoy to imply not all. Now we're saying Feketi means all. Let me ask this question in a second. Now we're saying Mizivoy, even Miktzah Zuvan are also Mechiyev to count Shivan Akiyim. I don't understand why I need a pasuk for that. For this part, I can make kavachem already. If it's mitam mishkav Moshe, lo yahai tu and shriyas nakim shivu. I say I use the word kavachem. It's a semblis of the mass. Actually, it's kavachim. It's not much kavachim. It's not. The Shiurim asking us why actually is kavachim. But okay, let's leave it for the side. That's what Rashi learns over here. The Hainu, that if it's Tama Mishka Moshe, Zichit Tama Shivu. It may need Shivu. We're established already in the previous sigya that Ziva Tuma that the Zabash Tariyas is Tama Mishka Moshe. Okay, so now the logical step is to apply it also to the Neshiv and Akim. Why do we need a pussy for that? So we know, I'll tell you why. Shumerius Yom Keneged Yom, which this is a din like a Zuvu by a woman, but she sees a Yom Echad, so she has to count one day Keneged that. One day, she sees one day, she has to count one full day to be to her. The Ruch is a bit Techiach, Shemetam Mishka Moshe, she's also Metam Mishka Moshe, and Einati and Svida Shiva. So we see that there could be a Timah, which is Metam Mishka Moshe, and still does not obligate to count 7 days in the Kiyum. So he did as well over here. You can have over here Timah Mishka Moshe of Zabash Tarjis, but Mahaychet Taisa, you need to have Shai Zibin Shiv Yimai Kiyum. The Atu Atatama Azeh, Ash Ava Pishu, Tam Mishka Moshe, Lo Yatu Shivu, Tam Loimen, the Pusik, Miziva, Visifa, Make to Ziva, Visifa, Limit Zabash Tarjis, Shitu and Swish. Okay, out come the Sigi. Umala Popular Baya, Mashnu High. Miziva de Marber by Zav Basharias. Imagine how Miziva de Mamait Zav Basharias. You think about it's interesting. Krap in the din of carbon, we said Miziva says over here, Miziva, not every Zav is Michiv on carbon. And Krap in the din of Shiv and Akim says exact opposite. Miziva, that even some Zav and Machav shine as Akim. So which way is it? Is Miziva Mamait Mamarber? So I'm going to Omalai, Isakadatach, then the way the Shema Mazba gets. But that's Miziva is always Mamait. So therefore, the Gabba Karb makes a lot of sense. But here, the Gabba Zayin Akim doesn't make sense to say that way. Because if it's Taka B'mayit, it's literally Kru B'nai. Why have to say anything? Don't say Zogunish, Miziva. Don't say anything. I would have never said it to B'chai. Why say Miziva in the first place? Say Visipa Shiva Yuma. Why say Miziva next to that to imply that? By the way, Miziva. And even Miziva is telling us over here, because Miziva could actually mean Mamayit, but usually means Mamayit. In this context, it has to be Mamayit. The Chitam asked me, I said, what I made a Kavachim. Shmerim can give the kich. No, it could be matrat kavachim. Shmerim can give them. So therefore, I would never would have a half minute to say that the shmeris that is zov basharis machayev shemnekim. My chataisa would have said that. But what shall I tell me zivay? Ele might be marba. The chita mahamid boylai mizivay lo benigo. Maybe I need mizivay because the previous din that you can go to the mikveh even though you're still on a mitzvah. In kinds of lichtav crew v'chiyiter hazov lishtek. He didn't have to say miziva because when it says v'chiyiter azav, it also means when he's tar from his zav, even though he's tumah tzeras, when he's tumah from his zav is enough. Tur miziva lomali limud azav shariyas shetu and shvilish. Okay, I'll kind of sig, and now we're going to go on to the next sig of mitzvah. A bunch of short little sigas. So the gabel mitzvah, there's two types of mitzvahs. There's mitzvah musgir and mitzvah michla. Mind after a minute. A person has a negative tzeras. He comes to the kohen. He's not sure what it is. The kohen says, "I'm not really sure." Go into seclusion for 7 days. He goes after 7 days. The Kohen says, "Ooh, it's perfectly fine. You're free to go." Goes up. The Kohen says, "Nope, I don't know yet. Another 7 days." Goes another 7 days, and then he goes free. Or he says, "No, this is for sure nega." Now it becomes a tzayir mizger, becomes a proper mitzayir muzger completely over here. A tzayir muchlat. That's mitzayir muchlat. After he's mitzayir muchlat, in order to become tur, he has to first the nega has to be healed. Once it's healed, he has to start counting 7 days, I believe. He goes to mikvah 7 days. Then he has the taglachas and the spitz down on him over here. Then there's another 7 days which he counts, and then he goes free. But more or less, I am by mitzvah mizgir and mitzvah. There's no difference between mitzvah at that stage when he's sort of in seclusion because he doesn't know if he's for sure mitzvah, and which he knows already. Elu priya e primi. Mean to say that a mitzvah muchlat has to rip his clothing and to shave off his hair. I'm sorry, no, not shave off his hair. He has to be megalas here, has to expose his hair. Either means he has to let his hair grow, or the more says makutim is video that he has to go begili rosh without a hat on it. I find that I'm sure that what priya means exactly. Priya means like the pariah to like open up here. He shaves off his hair afterwards. So the Mitzvah Mechlet has to rip his clothing and to also be pariahs here. Mitzvah Mizga does not have to do that. That is one Chavach minute. Is a many Hashem speak about Minad Rafkunis as well. Could be that the Mitzvah Mizga does not have to go properly into seclusion. Could be he could just go separately. Doesn't have to mamash go Budid Yeshiv to sit out in that hut outside the city over here. It's not clear what the extension of it. It's a big shalom l'shoina. That's just one thing. And Ein Bein Tumah to Hezgen is also not enough committed between when you become Tur. So as we said before, you can become a Tur from Hezgen to say you come back to the Kohen and he says, no, you're fine, you good to go. It never was a negative to us. Or Tumah to Hechlet, Elu to Glachas to Purim. Then here, if you come from Matay Hezgen, you don't need to glachas, you don't need to take a haircut, you don't need to spit nothing, you don't need to shlich, that whole avodah, which mevarbichas and the other mesechtas, you don't have to do any of that. If it's a mitzvah from Toras Chaim Shul, you have to do all of that. To send them out of the shulish machnes, both Sign Mitzvah Michlet and Sign Mitzvah Mizge, both have to be sent out of all three machnes. We know what's in the car over here. This book is here by a coin which is Nitza Matechas Gura. This is a coin, and now I'm going to have focus over here, like the din of Priya Prima. How do we know that the coin which is a Mitzvah which is Hezger is not Mechiv Priya Prima? Because in the Pusik when it says when it comes to her, the Tahara coin Misapachasi, the Chibis Begud Vituher. Now it says in the Pusik Vituher. It doesn't say the Yitar. Yitar means from now on to be Tuah. The tour implies, and you were tour. You already tour right the tour. In the past, already you were tour. How does it make sense? He was telling he was tumah. Now it becomes tour. Is tour me prima the mekur? Mean to say, not like about everything you were tumah to right now. Because you were tzor to chesger, you want tumah like about the din of priya and prima. You're only tumah like about the din of other dinim, like about shaliach, or that sort of dinim over there. But Tur implies that you want Tumah until now like about everything. You were something. Even said the Yitar was Abata right now, you were Tumah. But Tur is mashma, you were Tumah now, you were and Tur now as well. That's like a dig to make. Kabazov, same thing as well. The Ksiv, Chibis Begudov, Vituher. Who's some Nama, who's some my Vitumah Kurik? What do you mean Vitur? You're going to say something as Zav. Okay, Zav, after he goes to Mikveh over there, Ruchas B'Mayim Chayim, Vitur. What does Vitur mean over there in the past? Elu, I'll tell you what it means over there. Tur hashtem litamek licheres beheset. Afagav the huda chazil mitamal mafray. I mean to say, Azov, as eventually happens with him. If Azov goes to mikveh, and then later on the day he sees again, boom, it's soisa everything. He has to start counting again. It's soisa the mafray. It's as if he saw from the beginning. And if he sat in anything throughout the day, it's the time of Mishka and Moshe. Even that sort of that in between time when he was like after went to Rochatz until he saw again. However, the Vashtat and Torah V'Tur, which implies that he's Tur, some dinim, he won't be Tur, the Tur implies that he'll be Tur even in the past. Means to say the Gabba what din. After he goes to the mikveh, there is some dinim which he will remain Tur, even though he'll be Tumah L'Mafraya. Like which din, like Abba Klicheres, which comes also Behesed, like Abba puts pressure on it over here, Behesed, which is a separate din completely. Zayas Akusev. Why after this din? Because it says in that pasuk. So, a certain din, that din, Vitur is mechadash tells that even though he becomes tumah l'mafraya, not the gaba that din. So too, the Mitzvah tells same thing as well. Tur hashtem l'tam v'bir l'mafraya. Mitzvah has a special din as well. If he comes into a house, everything becomes tumah in the house as well over there. So the master had to as well. If he was a Mitzvah and he went to Rochatz, and afterwards over there they see the nega comes back, which becomes tumah l'mafraya, like about all dinim, except like about din of tumah. So the makar Vitur is not a good makar, telling us that need pri and prima no shaychus. Vitur is telling us over something else completely. That if he was sort of went to the mikveh already, and afterwards he sort of had another nega, certain dinim you tumah l'mafraya, certain dinim not tumah l'mafraya. What's the makar that a mitzvah is not mechiyev priya prima if it's mitzvah techezge. Elim merova mehocha, but tzariya asher boy hanega, the Torah which is boy, and him the nega. They said the pusik beguda vi prima v'rosh pri, the makar and the pusik where it says over there yechiv and prima, it says boy. Dashna v'misha tzarasa kli begifo, it's also kli begifo. Mitzvah has a nega tzaras. You tzesh antos kli begif elu b'yuma. Mitzvah this person. If he's not for sure Mitzvah, if he counts 7 days and he's all fine, he's good to go. So it's to be yumim. Maybe there's another 7 days, maybe, but at some point he's for sure free to go. So someone which is not boy the tzeras, it's just rather the yumim tzeras. Such a person is not mechid. That pusik says boy legab the din of prima. So boy only so much in the chiv tzari begifa is chiv prima, not the mitzvah techezge.
when's the cutoff? If he goes to mikveh and then he sees again, how long does he have?
How long does it have to be between the? By example, it's that day.
Before it's the mafrei. I mean, if it has
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. I imagine only that day, but or I'm not sure. Call you my asher neger boy tuma. Tuma he body yeshu. So the guy didn't body yeshu shaliach. There also it says boy. So make the same thing there as well. Mishtas at the gifa he to shliach. Sha'antus at the gifa anti shliach. And so as well there's no chiv shliach. He said before in the beginning of the sigya that both mitzoyim with the chesge, mitzoyim with the mechlet are mechiv shliach. Now we're saying boy only he's mechiv. Ich habe auch einen Namen. Wo tun ein paar mitzoyim mit mitzoyim hechlet. Ele prima. Ule shliach to me be zev ze shuv. They're both equal the same. You may call you may le rabbis mitzoyim. It says call you may. So therefore call you may is marbe also mizgal shliach. Ping die hoche te glach zu poe mai tamaloi. The two einbein two mit der chesge two mit der chech und der chesge zu poe. Why you think that's a chiluk between two of them? They also says call you marbe as well. Maar bij hem de pusik wie zu koin le mechitz machna. The hina nirper nega teras. This pusik referred to over there. They go within glach zu Purim. They see make same diak. Misha teras to lieb the fies where the teras to lieb the fies in the ceiling. You to zesh interested liber feast. It'll be it's 2 days, not in your feast. God can't give a sigma tzayir. So we have a few minutes. I want to speak about a certain sigya and a gum. So this fellow, Kerem Eliezer, wrote the whole cipher just in the concept of nagum, just in the concept of tzayir. But it's very interesting. This is about over here. It focuses on the gum with manani in our times. Just as a hegdom, there's a guess from the Yarvitz over here that adds a word over here. The Gemara says over here, Misha terasa clear berifias. So the fias. How do they translate fierce? How do they translate to very fierce? Time before the Mishnah. And healing.
Yeah.
And healing. Look, the Yavetz no. Because a refios, the way it's spelled, implies like a true voice, you say in Hebrew, like a medicine. And it's a material doesn't have, medicine doesn't help for material. It doesn't help. So refios over here is goes over here without a vov, rather refu is, which means more like a being healed, not with the medicine, rather like he brings a pussy that over there. Refu is tilas rechu. That he will be healed. There's I guess English is not I'm not to use the two words over there, but sometimes it's healing, when a person is healed with no shachas to medicine. Yeah, no connection. Why is that? Because the big shalom they're showing them, what is a mitzvah? Like we're used to that, everybody knows a chayda, you learn the chayda, that the speak how you become a mitzvah. But if you know what mitzvah is, leprosy, it was a very common disease. I'm saying it was something which was one extremely contagious common disease. In fact, it was so contagious that the Beliu Bucher was an Italian Goinim. He writes that the Welt says, you don't say chazi, you call it dova acha, right? Places, I was a Chidisha school, they didn't even spell the word pig. It was like, capital P-I-G, so what's the makar for that? It says not because people think, because I don't say the word chazar yimah. But it makes no sense, because why is a chazar more tumah than a gumel? I'm saying it doesn't make sense to say that chazar is more tumah. It's because the Chazal tell us that kosher chazayim ledova acha. Chazayim are kosher for dova acha. What's dova acha? Now we know that people don't have to say things if it's very contagious. Because even saying the word is contagious. So Chazal always called tzeras dova acha, because tzeras is so contagious that even saying the words you don't say it. Chazayim are so connected to tzeras because they're so dirty and so contagious and so bring so much disease and germs with it, that even the chazir is dova acha. The reason chaz called dova acha is not because of it's a chazir because it's tzeras. I'm trying to bring out to be the concept of tzeras is contagious. And this is something Jemina Sheiner about speak about that it's an extremely contagious disease. So first we have a sort of a problem here. So what is going on about the Shonhara and what's going on? It's nothing to do over here. So it seems that even the Shem which held that tzeras is a machala, it's a contagious disease, but it came. There's an element of it which came when the person did something wrong in a very, there's a second element of it. The shama is there's two chalukim which we have to speak about. We have a few minutes because we more or less finished it. What happens with Bisbanayin? Now there's two chalukim when we speak about Bisbanayin. One, what happened to Tzeras today, which is a sort of a stupid question to ask because of the advance of medicine. Tzeras disappeared, but some of the asked this question: what happened? What? So the second question we're going to speak about is why, if someone is Mitzvah today, don't we apply the luchas of Mitzvahs to him?
I thought it wasn't leprosy. Proper tzeras is not leprosy.
But there's many denies that it is, because I'll describe it, and they're very vividly described as some form of leprosy. Your skin dries up, it falls off parts of it. And that's exactly what leprosy is. The skin with nerves will die. I was reading today, I was doing some more research over the year that people have leprosy would have rats would eat them up, but they wouldn't even feel it because the nerves would just completely, now it's zicher that this according to Wikipedia at least, that tzeras, we're not sure exactly what Toras Chazal we're referring to. And there's many different sorts of tzeras, but it seems from studies made over here that there was tzeras, or some form of it is the same tzeras which we know of leprosy over here. Now, as I said, there are some you could say with two types of tzeras. There was tzeras of leprosy, which Chazal spoke about as well being contagious in many places over there, and then there's tzeras which came in, and I'm totally okay with that. When some Hashem don't say this, some Hashem says no, it's not that. But I'm saying that it's a Mesechta Shayim. So let's say someone today, this is someone's Mitzvah today. The question is, he's a Mitzvah. He's a Mitzvah. Does he have to? Or the Luchas Shaliach Samachna? Why did we apply the Luchas today? There's benign as well.
Then you can get out of it.
So some Taka say you're saying over here because there's no chiyuv to go into, you can't get out of it. But that's not also clear because who says it's two different mitzvahs? The mitzvah of Tumah, mitzvah of Tahara. There's a mitzvah of Tumah. So first, to go in, he has to go for Chesed. How long you should go into over here? It's seclusion over here. But there's a mitzvah to say Tumah Yikr, Tumah. What Parab has to do, he has to shout out, I'm Tumah. So the cash comes to Shul, Rabbi saying, I'm Tumah, I'm a Mitzvah, where does those chiyuvim? So this guy has like 100 pages just for different reasons, 15 different reasons. Either he said because we don't have, what did you say here? We don't have Kahanta, we don't have Kahana Mechusim today. What's the difference? We need a Kaim, we don't have Kahana Mechusim, it can't work. But it's also debatable. I mean, we rely on everything else for Kaim, Pidin and Ben, and every other chiyuv, Pitzing Nam Mitzvah, we can't rely on the Kaim. I'm saying it's good enough for your Pidin, it's not good enough for your Mitzvah. Why not? So that's the show what some ask over here. Some say because, like you were saying a little bit, we don't know what a Mitzvah is. So it could be that this is a tzeras, but not that. So you can say, look, I have over here some sort of thing over here. I don't know. It's a tzeras, not a tzeras over here. Although they bring over here, very interesting Zach, and Moshe Feinstein. This is a story which is brought down. It's not Petligus Moshe. The Bucher once came to Moshe Feinstein, and he showed him some sort of market he had in his hand. And Moshe Feinstein said, this is tzeras. And he said to him, he says, why? He says, he spoke to Shana recently and do tshiva, and after tshiva, he went away. Okay, it's a story. I'm saying all the other nish, I don't know. But there's a Shabbat Shal in the Chaynim, why exactly it is now. There's many different reasons over here. Like you said, if it's not Shach to Mitai, can be Mitama, or Kahanim, Mifin the Chalukim over here. That's one discussion which is spoken by Riches over here. Then there's another question over here. So assuming that the reason why today we don't apply it is because we don't know how to apply it. It doesn't make sense for how to apply it today because we didn't even know to be able to apply it over here. The second shot is why did the Einish of Mitzvah disappear? Okay, so we know that Einish Chazal says an Einish for Mitzvah, Einish for Dunksa virus. So why did it disappear from our times? Why don't we get Einish anymore? So this many different reasons as well. Some say the reason as well, the Torah doesn't give, the reason some Rishonim say. The Torah only gives the Einish something which you can get out of it. But for our times, we tell you can't get out of it because we don't have kabunis, we don't have anything over here. So that's a very extreme sort of, tell you what to give you the kareem. It's the chiva, I'm giving him story. But they send you something which you for life is stuck with this timber, therefore that's how this disappeared after the carbon. Although it's not clear when it disappeared. There are rise that Tanum still kept Dina Tzaras even after the carbon. So that's the problem when it sort of stopped the keeping Dina Tzaras or not. There's rise, various different rise, Bekan and Lekan. Some say that this is a shalom which Menachem saying there's many things which the Mizmanach Mikdash, when the Yidden were Tachas Ashguchas and Aibish directly, there was Nissim. Therefore, Aibish did all sorts of things which like sent you messages directly. But today we're more of a Hester. Aibish doesn't send you messages directly anymore. Like, okay, you spoke Shnar, you wake up at the Tzaras next day. We don't live in that world where we get messages, updates, where you're up to in life over here, how you have to correct yourself. This is a Shetna of Zoda, showing him over there. It's not in the guy who's Benayni. So let him over here. Now, Chaim says the word here because it's you can't stay Tumah forever, and it's not meant to be an Einish for everything. It's only meant to be a short-term thing over here. As I said, the master why we physically don't see Tzeras Bizmanayni. The Pasha's reason is because with modern advanced medicine we don't see it anymore. That's the Pasha's reason. But it's a very interesting Mesechta Chachma, really fast Mesechta Chachma. Mesechta Chachma writes as a Inin Hanagum Shenimsi LaHarna Kohen. Inin Nagum which is given to Harna Kohen is Mesechta Torah. It's Mesechta Torah Asher Tim Tat Liba Kohen. It's a sister Torah. Why is it truly in the Kohen? Basically, what's the Shach is the Kohen over here? What's the connection over here? Look at Mesechta Chachma. Zuk to Mesechta Chachma. that tsaras is a machla hamedbekas. Tsaras is a contagious disease, a very contagious disease. And that is why it says over here, Tumah Yikr has to go shalichit samachna, has to go to say completely out of the machna, to be alone, not to be contagious over there. I remember when I learned the sig of Tsaras, that where it came up on Shabbos over there. I remember it was in COVID. It was like in the peak of COVID. And then to say the Shema over there, like the concept that Chazal recognized to go into Bidud and to go into over here, it was like, I'm saying, now it sounds a bit stale already. I'm saying, we're tired of that. But then it was like, a chiddush over there. And and therefore this and to be oisik in a mitzvah is sakuna because it's dangerous to get sick over here. And that is why the Torah said it should be a kohen, because a kohen has a shkuch nefluas, and as the bnei hasha him when avdula mishayis su mishkuch reputz have a special of bnei han. Therefore, that shows them they should be the doctors because they are less susceptible to disease. They are less susceptible to disease. It's more hashguch they have over there than the mishchachma. Why are they more careful? Because it's reason. So therefore, they're more. More thing over here. The shalom with the shalom with that is, and this is shalom general. The kohen amuritz should not apply. A kohen who doesn't keep any tumah, and that the tam chochem cannot say tumah, but a kohen amuritz yes. And the question is why? Bishlam if they didn't avoid the kabunis, like say a kohen. But if it has being over here like some sort of like a hashguch in the flu, it's either because like you say because he knows better, or because I'm saying because they have a special shmir. Why should a kohen amuritz have a special shmir which a kohen asked the mishchachma? So I saw the Shlomo Shamingo he asks, he writes in the Mexican what's it called then, the swine flu over there. So maybe if someone is very contagious, he writes. So if you have two doctors, you can go to a regular doctor, to a kohen doctor, go to the kohen doctor because he has a shguch in the fluas, he has a special meshchachma says, a special shguch, you shouldn't become sick, so if you should go. So so if you go to a Tzula member, which I was in those days was COVID, where Shala was, you have to go. A kohen should go rather than not a kohen because he has less of a chance of getting sick. So what's the difference? And the Master he brings this about to go from Yalka the Shuli from Snipes as well. That's only because of contagious, and therefore that is why it should be a kohen and not more than that. The Master could be that we don't have as mechanical mechusim terms banani. That's one din over here. The Master says could be that it's also we don't know this din is only by mitzaras, but other things as well. But it's an interesting idea from Meshech Chachma that sort of that the whole count of kahanim they're chosen to do mitzaras is not because of Medina Avoida, it's Medina of they are less contagious to get disease over there. There's many other many cholkim over there, but this is a very fascinating idea.
Do you get ill regularly?
What is that?
The kohen.
The kohen.
He gets ill regularly.
No, he can get ill regularly, but you're saying, but the question if he gets from other people, other kahanim, maybe like or maybe that's sort of I don't know. That's interesting. That is a very fascinating. Because he goes on over here, many hundreds of pages over here. Kermeli there's a fellow called Eliezer Abranovich. He's the son of Gamliel Abranovich. No, he's a nephew of Gamliel Abranovich. Gamliel the Makubal. So interesting. They have a fascinating storm over here. Okay, let's just finish the moment over here. Ein bein Sforim the Tfilim is no chilsh ben Sforim and a Sefer Torah the Vim Tzivim and Tfilim is Elisha Sforim nechtum mechaloshin all Sforim can be written in all languages. Tfilim is ein nechtum Elisha is going to be written in Ashir script Nushon Kodesh. Now what this means can be written in all languages. Doesn't mean you can write Sefer Torah in all languages. Doesn't mean you can. It's not an issa to learn. Dvor shebiksav it the Shiurim v'apeh. You can't. So for writing another language, is that called v'apeh? Is not called v'apeh? Is it practically that push to some achanim learn? And Tiruvin says in Halach that all Sforim, Sefer Torah you're allowed to learn. So you got no languages, but Tfilim is not for learning. It's meant for Tfilim is, and if you can't learn languages, that's a big shallow what it means over exactly over here. Reb Shimon after Sforim Latin, even by Sefer Kodesh, Sefer Torah Shiurim Elu Yevunis only in Greek, nothing else over here. So we're Hula Tafran, we'll see them more about Yichas about tomorrow. Hula Tafran, how to tie, the begidden. Letamis Daim Zev is a shuv, they're both equal over here, and there's no difference over here. So what's up over here? I was asking one kasha, which I'm ask, but why do they say no enough community in Spurim and Megillah and Tefillin? Tefillin is this, is a gabba kasidron. We know that a Tefillin has to be written kasidron. If you write one part, it can't go back. The Sefer Torah could be written like kasidron. So say a portion of Kimina, Sefer Torah can be written like kasidron, and a Tefillin can be written only kasidron. Some of them is saying that the difference is that we're talking about things which you can see the difference in the actual writing. This can be written in Greek, and this can be written in Greek, I can sort of see that. Siddur Shlek Sidron, it's not something you can see. It's a luchra, which how you write it, you have to write it over here. There's other kashas on this, but that's a nice terrace to Shama Chayim on a say.